Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of the e-commerce lab by Ecomcy, the place of everything related to Amazon FBA, private label, and e-commerce. My name is Vincenzo Toscano, founder and CEO of Ecomcy, and today we bring you another special guest. His name is Noam, and he's the co-founder and CEO of Floodlight, where they specialize in reinventing finance for e-commerce business. So we know that in this podcast we bring all these amazing guests to basically give us the latest tips and strategies when it comes to being as efficient as possible when it comes to growing our business in the e-commerce space. And I think Nam is an expert on that, and it's a pleasure for me to have Nam today. So Nam, it's a pleasure. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. It is a pleasure as
No,
well being here for the first time.
no worries. It's a pleasure for me as well. I think when I saw on what your business does and when we met a couple of weeks back, I was very impressed with what your tool does and your software as an ecosystem for e-commerce business. I think when it comes to finance, realistically, we as entrepreneurs, we always focus on the strategy around how to grow the business, how to grow the brand, how to get into this marketplace and so on. But realistically, sometimes we forget about the finance side of things. We forget about the numbers, how to be profitable, how to understand where are my expenses, how much money I'm making. And I think your tool is perfect for that. And I'm very excited to actually go in more depth around that. However, before we jump into that, I think it's important for everybody listening to the show that today's topic is going to be an interesting one because we're going to be talking around how to deal with uncertainty as an e-commerce founder. I mean, we know when it comes to having a business, it's difficult, but at the same time, when you become an e-commerce business owner, the thing is your business start expanding most of the time outside of your country. Most of the time, the uncertainty start to becoming bigger and bigger depending where you spend on, and it's going to be interesting to see how that also tap into the finances of your business. Now, before we jump into that, I think I want to use a minute or so to learn more about you. Now, I know you have a very interesting background, and for everybody listening to this show, I usually like to use the story of our founders to get inspired and to also understand what made you jump into the commerce space. If you can share that with us, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So my background in the end of the day is like on twofold: is product management, building products at scale. I used to live in California for many years, worked for Airbnb
Awesome.
and Google and other companies like that.
The big giants.
Yeah, you may have heard about them. And on the other hand, on financial services, working with different startups, both on e-commerce and retail, and tech companies on variety of aspects of financial services, whether it's building financial services or helping companies to better understand their finances. And in the last couple of years, I had my own business and realized that one of the areas that is still lacking when you think about the last couple of years is still the financial back office and the financial experience for founders, especially in the e-commerce, that in the last couple of years, we saw such a huge boom in innovation, everything related to e-commerce, whether it's in the logistics side, whether it's in the storefront side, whether it's customer support, market, you name it, like
everything.
Every area in the spectrum of e-com and retail has been touched by innovation and entrepreneurship, and financial services still feel very outdated.
Old. Yeah, that's true.
We're still like using this spreadsheet, and we'll get to that later on, to keep track of your business, to decrypt the finance of your business, and to basically manage your entire business. And don't get me wrong, spreadsheets are amazing.
Yeah.
They're very useful. I'm still convinced that if you try hard enough, you will convince your spreadsheet to make you a cup of coffee. But I feel that we can do better than what we do today.
That's awesome.
And with that background, basically, me and my co-founder started Floodlight in order to help founders and entrepreneurs to have a better financial experience, and at the same time to better understand and organize their finance so they be able to grow with confidence. And we'll have enough time to get to that later on.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I bet that with your extensive experience, you have seen everything when it comes to, delegating the finances of e-commerce business. I think when it comes to finances, I totally agree with you that it's something that we always leave as a last thing to do in our business. We always focus on, as I say, on the strategy. Oh, I need to get into this marketplace. I need to launch this new product. I need to do this website. But sometimes we forget about the essence of business, which is actually, the number. Yeah, exactly. So it's gonna be very nice to touch those things today, and of course get some tips. Now, as I say, one of the main things that we're going to be covering today, which I think is super important to discuss, is how to deal with uncertainty, right? I think when it comes to dealing with an e-commerce business, you of course are going to have a lot of things that you're not going to be expecting, a lot of things that are going to be thrown at you, and you need to understand how to react at them. And because of that, I think it would be a good question to start this conversation around what's uncertainty when it comes to small business owner in the commerce space. What would you say those are? What are the most common uncertainties you see? Yeah.
So let's start with like the basics. Like being a founder, being a business owner, it's a lot of uncertainty, right? You
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of
Yeah.
things that are out of your control, whether it's like
Yeah.
vendor relationship, whether it's consumer taste, and of
Mm-hmm.
course there is the current economic environment that
Mm-hmm.
has been changing quite rapidly in the last couple of years or 2 years. And the entire financial landscape have been changed that create this uncertainty that make you running your business like even more challenging, even in that situation. And I think that there is interesting questions: what drives that uncertainty in the current economic environment? And I think there are two main things that we can think about. One is the fear of recession and the
Okay.
sentiment that it creates, right? Inflation, interest rates, unlike last decade, now you must be more aware for
Mm-hmm.
interest rates when taking new loans and calculating the returns of outstanding ones as part of your cash flow. If last year and even this year we spoke about quite a bit of inflation, high interest rates and recession could be the ones that we speak this year.
Yeah, I
Naturally,
think that's super important. Sorry to interrupt you. It's good that
no,
you bring this to the table. I feel I'm surprised as well sometimes when I talk to business owners and entrepreneurs that they have an e-commerce business. They don't factor the inflation and interest change into the profitability and the finance, and it's crazy. I mean, these things can completely kill your business just by not taking consideration these percentages. And it's good that you bring that to the table. I think sometimes we think, I mean, we always hear about inflation, we always hear about these things, but it's something that we hear about, but we don't take action on it. So it's
yeah,
good
it's
that
something
you
that's
brought that to the
happening
table.
for the other side, somewhere
Yeah.
else. and and and,
Yeah.
and those changes in the general economic environment naturally have the impact on the consumer behavior, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now they're spending less due to fears of recession. They're thinking twice before they buying things, and people are more careful and have less money to spend. And naturally,
Mm-hmm.
for e-commerce that focus on consumers, that can have a really big impact on the business.
Mm-hmm.
It's harder. It just become harder, and your value proposition as you and your product need to be much more valuable in order to stand and make in the end of the day, it's one wallet, if you may, that you
Yeah,
fight on, and you need to make your case to convince your customers that you're actually worth their time, their money, their effort,
that's
and
right. Yeah, because
and those,
basically the client now have the thinking, okay, I'm struggling financially, and now I need to think more time to actually make the decision to purchase your service or your product. So yeah, it's gonna
exactly,
affect.
and those are things like we are not come to just like you to be depressed and to be all
Mm.
doom and gloom, but I think there's two
The
things that we
reality.
need to be very aware of.
Yeah.
But just like to have even positive bit in the end of the day, this is also there is a great opportunity for you to focus your
Okay.
business, to have full ownership on your decision making, and steer the boat in the right direction to overcome these challenges.
Good, good. Yeah, I think yes, super important because I feel like I have seen actually this with a lot of our clients. When it comes to they have their e-commerce business, they're selling online, and then you have this economic crisis that happened worldwide, especially during COVID times, and then you talk to the founders and you explain the situation that maybe you're losing market share because you need to adjust your price and your offer provide a better product. And sometimes they can't they get into this stock mentality. No, my product is better. I don't need to change my price. I don't need to change my offer. And that mentality actually can be harmful because if you don't understand the reality of the economics and how that can actually drive the masses, which is actually your clients, you can end up on a position when you think that yes, your brand is the best, your product is the best, but then you don't have anymore that feel, which is people to buy your product because you didn't adjust based on what's happening. Yeah, so super
Yeah,
important.
pricing is such an important topic, and maybe for another episode we'll keep it because everybody is like so sensitive for price. And price is a story about your product, and it's an important number to make sure to run your business. And typically founders are keeping the experimentation and then the exploration
Yes.
around pricing to the last result.
That's true.
Because to think about this is a main important issue for the business.
Yeah.
It's very sensitive.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, because that's true. Sometimes they say, "Oh, let's try first the images, let's try the packaging, let's try this," but then at the end of the day, sometimes the thing that we should have done in the very beginning was pricing, and that's the solution. So it's very important. Yeah. Now, I think another thing that I would like to get your advice on here, and I want to ask you this because I know you're in depth when it comes to finances around e-commerce businesses. What is the kind of what thing we should be minded on this situation? Like, what advice can you give us? Like these kind of tips we should be implementing during this crisis to avoid as much as possible this uncertainty. Yeah.
So let's say start to understand like what this uncertainty means to your business. It means that like high level, it means that your top line can be volatile and less expected. We hear on the news that everyone is cutting costs, from tech giants,
that's right,
small businesses. Everybody in uncertainty, everybody wants to be more lean, more efficient in order to reduce the unnecessary to their business. And this works for big companies and small companies alike. And then there is the question, actually, how do you make these kind of decisions, right? And from my point of view, the key is to understand your business and create a system that to monitor it in easy and ongoing manner. First, you need to understand your current situation of your business. What is your best-selling product? How are your various channels working? What is the most efficient market channel? What is your ROI on each channel? And I think instead of like, being afraid from the situation, as I mentioned, like this is a great opportunity to have focus. Consider double down on what is working and focus on the products and the distribution channel with the highest ROI. And for now, or maybe even indefinitely, put aside others. And I think the most important thing is to understand the cost structure, marketing, shipping, storage. What is the biggest cost center? How these cost trends and correlate to each other. For example, how your marketing impact your revenue, how your shipping cost eating your margin, and to understand what is the room for improvement in each and area of cost center. For example, after understanding how much you spend on shipping, you can consider other vendors, right? Same thing around marketing, to find better marketing channels. Or if you have a specific vendor for your inventory, maybe it's an opportunity to find another one, or renegotiate prices or pricing terms for with him or with other vendors. And I think that this is the time to constantly monitor and keep tabs on everything that's going on in your business from the financial point of view, and not just look on the bottom line. Like really understand different areas or different levers in your business. And the best way to do that, again, speaking earlier on spreadsheet, is to have a system in place that will help you to track and understand that in the best and the easiest manner that require less work as much as possible. As you mentioned, entrepreneurs, we rather to focus on strategy.
We don't like too much the numbers.
But not on Excel and spreadsheets on our finances.
I think, I mean, first of all, just to take some of the ideas you just mentioned, I think the one thing that was very important for what you just said is cutting costs, right? We know that sometimes it's a difficult decision when it comes to cutting costs, especially if it's around, your workers and specific things that are very important for you and your business. But at the end of the day, you need to understand that you also on this to ensure that your business survives, right? You need to make sure you make a smart decision to make sure that the business can thrive long term. And I think sometimes these are the periods where you need to go in depth in your finances. Maybe I don't need this software anymore. Maybe this warehouse is just too much space. I need to go to a smaller warehouse. Maybe this office is really too much luxury for what I actually need in my office. Let's change the office. All these things are sometimes things that when things are going well, you don't think about that because money come in, money go out, and you don't really focus on that. But I think when money start becoming drier, especially during this economy situation, that's where you actually need to make the decision. And I think the issue happens there. When you want to make a decision, you don't have a way to do it efficiently because you don't have something like Floodlight that can basically break down all those things for you. Sometimes most people have the traditional banking, which is like thousands of transactions. There is no way you can remember what each transaction means to you, and that's where you struggle as entrepreneur. I mean, imagine going through all that manually. It's crazy, right?
You couldn't tell that better than me, but I will add something else, and I hope we'll get to that. You focus on on the never-ending list of transactions with your financial provider, with the bank, but the reality is actually more complicated, right? Like as an e-commerce vendor or entrepreneur, your financial data is siloed across many different silos. You have your bank, you have your credit cards. Sometimes you have more than one bank for some reason.
You have PayPal, you have Stripe, you have this, you have so many things.
You have Shopify, you have so many payment gateways. Even the data in your financial, your ad networks, there is important financial data to understand there. And now, in order to make sense of all of this, it's quite a mess. And we can go a little bit, like we can think about it a little bit. What is the process to keep track of all of this? And it's up to you to decide whether it's easy or not. But in the end of the day, as I mentioned, like you need to take all this data, which the data doesn't speak with, like each financial silo, whether it's your bank or PayPal, has its own language and its own terms. You need to export everything to normalize the data, make them speak the same language. And then you need to build a model to understand what the data means. And then based on that model, you can play with it a little bit in order to understand what's going on in your business. But after you export all the data, normalize all the data, put it in one place, build a model, you get a snapshot of your business. But this snapshot is for your business is for today.
That's the thing. You need to do it daily.
In order to do all that work. But next week, your business will change. Next month, your business will change. And the data is not in real time. So at the moment you finish to do all that work, like it's all.
But next week is useless. Yeah.
So it's really hard to modify it. It's really hard to rely on it, on your decision making process. And it's very, very messy. So I don't know if it sounds simple or not to you, but for me, it sounds very complicated, especially given as an entrepreneur, there are so many other competing priorities or urgencies or fires that you need to deal with.
They're having to do spreadsheets.
And this is exactly the reason why we built Floodlight. Like we think about Floodlight as the smartest business account for e-commerce, a money management platform for e-commerce businesses. And to be honest, our goal is very simple. We want to empower entrepreneurs to grow their businesses while feeling confident that they're managing their finances in the best optimal way.
Awesome.
This is like our mission. This is our goal. Hopefully,
I love it.
Very simple. But behind that, there is quite a bit of work, both operational and engineering work. You can imagine what goes into that process.
And I think for all our listeners, because I'm pretty sure they're getting excited around Floodlight and how it works, maybe you can give us just a quick summary of how simple it is to get started. So I guess you need to create an account, then you connect your bank account. So how does it work in essence, so people can understand the whole process?
So basically, our core belief is that you should manage your business in the same place that you should manage your finances. And this is something that traditional financial industry failed to do because they've been focusing on very specific aspects. So signing up to Floodlight, it's very easy. It takes a couple of minutes. We're focusing on the British market today, but over the summer, we'll expand to the rest of Europe.
Awesome.
And this is what you get. On one hand, you get a single dashboard to view all your expenses, including your bank accounts, cards, PayPal, soon to be added additional e-commerce platform like Amazon, Shopify, etc. Based on that data, we auto-generate for you cash flow in real time and actually provide insights and correlations for you to better understand the levers of your business. For example, if your revenue is slowing down while your marketing expense spiking up, we'll call it out.
That's good.
If we see that the marketing expense jumped or spiked in the last month compared to previous period of time, we will call it out for you. Maybe it's fine, maybe it's not, because of seasonality, because of
Yeah.
holidays, whatever. But we will call it out for you, so you will be aware, instead of you trying to decrypt your data
Try
in a
to guess
specific
it. Yeah.
understanding.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's game changer. I mean, even for me, I think even myself, I don't have something like this, and I think we have to do. I mean, we try to do it monthly, like you said, we try to consolidate data and everything, but realistically, the amount of time it takes, and I'm pretty sure that it has mistakes, because when you're doing this manually, for sure you're gonna do a mistake on one of the tables or something. And now having this on a simple click, I can just change the data range and have it on a few seconds. It's a game changer. Yeah.
Absolutely. But the key thing is that we don't think about us just as a financial dashboard, because there are so many dashboards out there. As I mentioned, like, we want to help you to manage both your business and your finances at the same place. So as a part of our offering, we offer up to 10 business accounts. So you can better segregate your funds, whether it's for specific projects or goals, or for different stores if you run multiple stores. We offer up to 25 virtual cards that offer 1% unlimited, 1% cashback. So you'll be able to increase your return on ad spend or reinvest in your business. Of course, payments, both domestic and international. And in the end of the day, our goal is to reimagine like financial experience should be to founders in modern day and age, to be honest.
Wow. Thank you. Yeah, I think it is very nice. I mean, thank you for making this and bringing it to the market. I think for sure I haven't seen something like this, so I think it is good to see entrepreneurs like you understanding the pain point of us e-commerce founders and bringing this to the table. It's very useful.
Thank you. I think in the end of the day, the key thing to remember is how important it is to like really understand the mechanics of your business, your finance, your business, to be organized about your finances, and to have a method in place that enable you in a very, very streamlined way to keep track and understand your business. And that will help you to be ready for the future, whatever uncertainty will come.
You will see it.
Exactly.
That's great. No, so I mean, thank you very much for your time. You share so many actionable, tips and advice around how to navigate the uncertainty as an e-commerce founder. So I appreciate that. And at the same time, I want to give you this extra minute or so you can give us just a little bit of extra information around if they want to reach out to you to ask you any questions around Floodlight and how they can get started with Floodlight as soon as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Joinfloodlight.com is our website. Just submit the form and we will follow up promptly.
Awesome. So thank you.
Joinfloodlight.com.
Thank you. I'm going to make sure to put the link down in the description, guys, so you can find it. But in the meantime, now it's a pleasure and looking forward to meet you again.
Same here. See you soon.
See ya. Bye-bye.